Defense Secretary Dr. Ajay Kumar, Excellency Ambassadors, foreign dignitaries, Commandant, National Defense College, Air Marshal Diptendu Chaudhary, faculty and staff of the college and members of the 60th course, distinguished officials, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to address the National Defense College, which is the highest seat of strategic learning in our country on the occasion of its Diamond Jubilee. Let me start by extending my warm congratulations to the Commandant and all the staff of the college on completing 60 years of the dedicated service to the nation. The college has produced many strategic leaders and practitioners, not only from India, but also from many friendly foreign countries. Some of the alumni have risen to become heads of their respective countries, armed forces, and many have occupied prominent positions of responsibility in their respective fields. Over the years, the contribution of the alumni of NDC to the strategic community has been immense. Ladies and gentlemen, India is an ancient civilization. Our culture and traditions have been influenced by deep commitment towards peace and welfare. It is not a coincidence that India has been the cradle of major world religions like Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, and Sikhism. India is also a melting pot of multiple cultural, social, ethnic, linguistic, and religious influences. It is the defense of this idea of India that represents the core of our approach to national security. Our long history prior to independence and the last 73 years since have been a learning experience for all students of security studies. Perhaps the most fundamental lesson that the roller coaster of the rise and fall of nations taught us was that peace cannot necessarily be achieved by a desire of peace, but by the ability of deter war. Unfortunately, the mere desire to seek peace, if not reciprocated by others, doesn't necessarily succeed in building a harmonious environment in a world beset of conflicting ideas of security, sovereignty, and national interests. The last 6 years provide a blueprint for India's approach towards national security over the next decade. Let me try and outline 4 broad principles that are likely to guide our quest for national security in the future. The first is the ability to secure India's territorial integrity and sovereignty from external threats and internal challenges. Second, the ability to create secure and stable conditions that can facilitate India's economic growth, thereby creating the resources for nation building and to meet individual aspirations. Third, we remain steadfast in desire to protect our interests beyond the borders in areas where our people reside and our security interests converge. And finally, we also believe that in a globalized and interconnected world, a country's security interests are interlinked by shared and secure commons. Each of these principles is defining the way in which India is approaching various elements of its security policy. Based on these principles, we have brought about drastic changes in our security policy, which are oriented towards strong, legally and morally tenable actions. We have proved that countries that employ terrorism as an instrument of national policy can also be deterred through options that were considered unimplementable in the past. Similarly, we have undertaken a 3-pronged approach towards internal security challenges as well. This includes development of areas affected by terrorism along with the provision of justice to the aggrieved. It also includes the ability and desire to go more than halfway to negotiate settlements with dissatisfied groups to enable a political settlement. And finally, we are also willing to challenge a status quo. If the status quo becomes a tool for the exploitation of helpless citizens and the provisions of governance, we are cognizant of the fact that India's stability and security are closely associated with the ability to grow economically at a desirable rate. This progression can only be sustained through our ability to adopt, innovate, and strengthen the fundamentals that contribute to this process. On the larger issue of economic security, the government has focused on all aspects of development in sectors of land, labor, capital, and industry. We have unleashed the potential of an agricultural marketing revolution through marketing reforms, through important agrarian legislations, which you witnessed recently. The steps taken are going to make our farmers economically stronger and therefore the country more secure. Similarly, labor reforms were a long pending requirement. The recent labor codes, Social Security Code, Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code, the Industrial Relation Code will go a long way in uncluttering the image of a labor market beset with old and unnecessary laws, rules, regulations, etc., which have been a barrier for a sound industrial growth in the country. They would also bring about ease in doing business to a great extent. On the capital front, the government has been increasingly and consistently bringing about major changes such as banking sector reforms, insolvency and bankruptcy code, etc., with a view to provide liquidity and opportunity to Indian industry to grow at a much higher pace. Apart from the reforms, we have been making vigorous efforts to stimulate the economy through policies, programs, and projects in all sectors, be it infrastructure, health, education, sanitation, drinking water, energy, etc., and to top it all, the defense sector. As India grows, there is a simultaneous movement of people beyond our shores and a growth of our interests worldwide. This entails that we should be able to safeguard Indian citizens who now work across the globe. In the past, we have displayed the ability to not only evacuate Indian citizens, but also people of different nationalities from war-torn and calamitous areas. In fact, we have also successfully provided support and relief as the first responder in our neighborhood as well. Our interests to secure trade routes, shipping lines of communications, fishing rights, and communication networks also require the ability to contribute to the global effort to maintain open and free oceans. That is the essence of our initiative to be a part of the Indo-Pacific Initiative. India has fostered close relationship and partnership with like-minded friends to further the common interests of countries in the region and beyond. Our strategic partnership with the US is stronger than ever before. Similarly, India's friendship has grown tremendously with Japan over the last few years as well. The India-Australia Virtual Summit in June 2020 has provided a fillip to our already strong comprehensive strategic partnership. We share common concerns with Australia and shared values. India also has strong traditional and deep-rooted relations with Russia. Our two countries have weathered many a challenge in the past through our close understanding and appreciation of each other's concerns and interests. We continue to build upon our relationship with Russia and especially in the military sphere. India has also forged a very special partnership with the reliable friends like France and Israel. We value their support and will continue to build upon it in the future as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister took special interest in reaching out to our partner countries in West Asia, Southeast, and East Asia. It is a result of this initiative that we have enhanced the scope and quality of our relations with Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Oman in the West, and with Indonesia, Vietnam, and South Korea in the East. I see this trend further being enhanced over the next decade. Friends, one of the most important elements of India's friend and security policy is characterized by the Neighborhood First initiative. Right from 2014, Prime Minister Modi invested substantial personal capital to ensure that this relationship was built and reinforced to create a positive and progressive partnership. The results of this initiative are evident. With the exception of Pakistan, given its agenda of fueling terrorism, India has improved its relations with all neighbors. We have invested heavily to help and support our friends to forge a relationship of mutual respect and mutual interest. Despite all these positives, we have also been confronted with some negatives as well. Pakistan continues to remain adamant in the use of terrorism as a state policy. However, we have achieved substantial success in working with progressive and like-minded countries to not only expose Pakistan's regressive policies, but also make it increasingly difficult to continue with its previous business as usual approach. Recently, India has been facing other challenges on its borders. India is a peace-loving country. We believe that differences should not become disputes. We attach importance to the peaceful resolution of differences through dialogue. We are committed to respect for various agreements and protocols that India has entered into for the maintenance of peace and tranquility on our borders. However, India is determined to protect its sovereignty and territorial integrity in the face of unilateralism and aggression, no matter what the sacrifice. I had reserved the last segment of my interaction with you for defense. Let me take you back to what I had said at the beginning of my speech. Peace can only be ensured through the ability to deter war. We have attempted to build this deterrence through a judicious combination of capability development and an emphasis on long-term policy of indigenization. This will not only be achieved through encouragement of public and private sector industries in India, as has been outlined in the recent procurement policies, but also by forging partnership with major OEMs who are keen to invest and build in India. Our vision for Make in India for defense manufacturing is being implemented with the long term of making India more self-reliant. We have received a very encouraging response in this regard, and further changes will be undertaken to improve the existing policy as and when needed. The armed forces have also ensured the defense of our borders and interests during this period, despite obvious challenges as a result of their well-thought-out policies and the ability to continue with their operational responsibilities despite the pandemic. I do not need to tell this audience about the evolving and changing character of war. This change is being driven by the multiplicity of challenges and the proliferation of technology that has empowered both the constructive and destructive tendencies of its users. This clearly suggests a widening scope of conflict and its manifestations. It also indicates that unless we can meet these challenges through an equally broad-based all-of-government approach, our efforts are likely to fall short. A large number of initiatives have been undertaken by us in the recent past in this regard. At the structural level, India has a more closely interlinked and coordinated security network. We have not only created the appointment of CDS and established the Department of Military Affairs, but are also in the process of further integrating the armed forces through both theatre and functional commands. Reforms have been initiated at the headquarters level, within the Army and the MOD as well. All the initiatives will also be accompanied by an improved defense planning process, which will allow us to be better prepared for contingencies and also employ measures to achieve economy in a bid to enhance effectiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, it has always been a challenge to foresee future security challenges. However, the ability to think through possibilities, create capabilities, and redundancies is possibly the best way forward to prepare for them. In doing so, our vision must remain uncluttered and our implementation uninterrupted. I am sure that all of you, as the present and the future leaders of the countries you represent, will play a critical role in the achievement of this vision. I wish you the very best in your future endeavors. Jai Hind.
Subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Click the bell button and enjoy the latest uploads from our channel.